y'all, this is Marla K. Hope y'all are well. Got an old story that I want to share with you, but it kind of ties into what is happening all over the globe right now. When you talk about this uh, global order and its transitioning and what it was, you need to understand what it was so that you can understand what is coming about. And you also need to understand that the same people who control the old order are controlling the new order. So it's not like there's going to be anything different. It's just going to be like a restructuring of what was. It's going to look different. It's going to be different. It's going to impact us differently. But at the top of it is the same old people, Esau people, Edomites, same old people. So this story came from the Monroe Press. It is originally from 2013, and Monroe Press is like a South Atlantic, South American, Caribbean type of deal that basically speaks in a voice that is quite different from what we hear here in America. And it talks about things that we don't always get in America because this country is so accustomed to hiding its dirt and not talking about what actually happens. And the same with Europe as well. When it comes to other people's history, they just kind of disregard it. When it comes to how the European nations and America, the West in general, handles or has handled other parts of the globe that were not white, um, white people tend to not want to talk about those things and how they came to be. They don't even want to acknowledge that there was such an order where they dominated all these other countries. They were, essentially not free. The whole world has been enslaved, so to speak, informally and controlled or oppressed by the dominant society. And so now this whole order is getting ready to change. And the only thing that is going to change is that now white people are going to be enslaved with the rest of us. White people are getting ready to be controlled like the rest of us. So they are going to have the hardest time dealing with what's coming. For those of us who have lived under oppression and have been taught by our parents and grandparents and great grandparents to deal with oppression, how to resist oppression, what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it tastes like we got it. We can write a book about it. We can write trillions of books about it, amongst ourselves. But the majority of white people have no clue what that is like. And so this final system that is coming into place rather quickly is going to include them this time. And they are not ready. They don't have a clue what's about to hit them. They still are acting as if they are superior and dominant, and all that stuff applies to other people and not them. And oh, we're so sorry that it's happening, but not in our country. Like they don't have a clue. So I just wanted to kind of share what is going on, and why this order is shaping up the way that it is shaping up to be, and how the old order impacted other nations. So again, this came from the Monroe Press, South Atlantic News Agency. And John Kerry said, basically the Monroe Doctrine is dead. We are equal, sharing responsibility. So now that America has basically exploited the entire world, destabilized the whole world, pillaged, raped, and killed, did everything that they wanted to do to resources and people in other countries that had resources that they wanted or they needed for whatever reason, and food, etc., etc. Now they said we are equal and sharing responsibility. So that just means that you're going to have to follow them in another way, and you're going to have to do what they say, and they're going to include you, but you're really not going to have a choice. It's going to be like a strong arm. So again, this was from 2013, but I really want to share it with you because it gives you a different viewpoint of how the rest of the world looks at us. And so when, you hear people saying, oh, America's great, oh, that'll never happen in America, oh, other countries, they'll be okay, we'll be okay. People in America don't understand the things that America has done to other nations and throughout the globe, and why it's going to be so easy for other people to turn on us. Once a bad guy gets the upper hand, like, people are going to join, other nations are going to join in, because one, it's biblical prophecy, Babylon got to fall. But two, we have been so terrible, and I say we, not we as African American Black people, we as in we live in this country that does terrible things to other nations and other people, done so much to disrupt and destroy the lives of other people. It is not going to be a pretty thing to witness this fall, because a lot of people are going to be like, you've, reaped all you've sown. And I don't think that white people are really aware. In fact, I know a lot of them are not aware, but because they're in denial, they live in strong delusion, they love this country, they love this world. Um, Part of it is, they have this perpetual hatred for anything that is not of them or looks like them. They're going to struggle. So I just want to share with y'all this comment about the Monroe Doctrine, because it's really important, and not only for other nations, but for us as African American Black people, because it helps to demonstrate why we were never able to free ourselves from this nation's tight grasp on us. And it also explains why other groups hate us when they come here, hate us as African American Black people in particular. So let's get into it. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry on Monday declared that a nearly 200-year policy, which had governed Washington's relations with Latin America, was finally dead. And it wasn't just the Monroe Doctrine, just wasn't for America, but it was for the Western Hemisphere. So don't get it twisted. Known as the Monroe Doctrine after it was adopted in 1823 by former U.S. President James Monroe, the policy has stated that any efforts by European countries to colonize land in North or South America would be viewed as aggressive acts and could require U.S. intervention. So, if Europe wanted to try to colonize South America or the Caribbean, they had already had their hand in the Caribbean because of the slave trade. So they kind of like never really took their hands off of that particular region of the nation. But they couldn't come in, they couldn't do anything that would be seen as adversarial against America, or America could retaliate. So they created this policy for South America because that was like new territory. They dumped slaves off there and pillaged the land and did what they did, kind of like they did here. But America wanted everything. And they knew, the place had a lot of resources. The oil, the land was rich, so it was good for agriculture. And so anything that America perceived as aggressive or an aggressive act, America could retaliate. So America and Europe have always had this kind of understanding about this Western Hemisphere. And they let it alone, which is why they plunder every place else. They plunder India, Asia, and Africa, New Zealand, Australia. That's where they have their hands, because they couldn't come over here. The doctrine that bears Monroe's name asserted our authority to step in and oppose the influence of European powers in Latin America, Kerry told an audience at the Organization of American States. Now, ain't that something? Organization of American States. How you have states? How? And throughout our nation's history, successive presidents have reinforced that doctrine and made a similar choice. Today, however, we have made a different choice. The era of the Monroe Doctrine is over, he insisted to applause. Now, from 1823 to 2013, y'all, that's a long time. So understand these people don't turn or loose nothing. They don't let go nothing, and unless they got another plan in place. So if you start going back to when they started sitting down and having these new agenda policies and plans, you're going to see the time frame kind of coincides. Nothing happens in a vacuum. Nothing happens by accident. The relationship that we seek and that we had worked hard to foster is not about a United States declaration about how and when it will intervene in the affairs of other American states. Now, what does that even mean? You start thinking about it. American states. So North America and South America. Does that mean South America was named by North America or European Americans who are here in America? United States of America, and so they consider that their state, and it's an American state. So when you start thinking about it in layers, like it's deep. It's about all of our countries viewing one another as equals, sharing responsibilities, cooperating on security issues, and adhering not to doctrine, but to the decisions that we make as partners to advance the values and interests that we share. See, this is white people fast talk. And I'm sorry for anybody who is not black watching this channel, but I have to call a spade a spade. So, after 200 years of exploiting, raping, robbing, pillaging, having coups, creating drug wars, doing all the stuff that they've done over the 2 centuries. Suddenly, you got to share responsibilities. Suddenly, you're going to be equals. How can you be equal when you are 200 years behind? And the reason that I make the case is because a lot of Yasharel are in, Brazil, Argentina. A lot of these countries have large hidden pockets of um, Israelites. And they're there because of America and Europe. Those people have not had an opportunity to be equals because they are oppressed in their society like we are oppressed here in our society because of structural racism. And so structural racism not gone away doesn't allow you to be equals. Structural or institutional or economic racism, even for brown people, doesn't allow you to be equal. So how is it that they could come out of their mouths and say that you're equal, that you're going to share responsibilities? Why I got to share? That's like somebody going in the kitchen and dirtying up all the dishes and tell you, oh, you got to help clean up because we live here together. I didn't clean. I clean up my mess when I make a mess, but I got to help you clean up the mess because you say it's ours and we share responsibilities. No, we don't share responsibilities. You tear up and you expect me to clean up. That's how this is going. And then you're saying cooperating on security issues. How can we cooperate on security issues when you constantly destabilize what we got going on through a variety of means, whether it's through economic sanctions, whether it's, you control all the weapons and warfare. So we don't really have any weapons or abilities to defend ourselves the way that you do because you basically forbade us from being able to do so. So nothing about the declaration is fair, but I just want to point that out, like how they continually um, degrade us, dehumanize us, and basically mock us. When it is in their best interest, when they want to do something, they will throw out these words, and we're all excited and happy because we feel like they finally got it and they're ready to treat us equal. No, they're ready to go on to the next evil thing and they're tricking you. So you have to be aware of their words and their manipulation, their gaslighting, and that, that's all this is. The Monroe Doctrine is over. No, this was in 2013. Do you know how many coups they've had? Do you know how many leaders they have run out of power? Do you know all the things that have been done? Like, it is insane since 2013. So how is it that you can be equals? How is it that you can share responsibilities? How is it that you can cooperate on security issues when there's no equity in anything, and there never has been? So you're 200 years behind on everything, trying to play catch up and be friends with somebody who got all the money, all the resources, all the power, all the technology, all of everything, control everything. But they're telling you, you could be my friend and we're going to be just alike. How? When I go home to my little shack and I'm surrounded by all my little poor peasants, and you over here eating high on the hog, in your mansions, riding on your yachts, and I got a little hand carved out wooden boat. Like, these people are so wicked. It's insane. Anywho, Kerry had been roundly criticized earlier this year when he told U.S. lawmakers that the Western Hemisphere is our backyard. So you remember I was talking about the Western Hemisphere, in comments that triggered anger from some Latin American leaders. And that's the truth. That is how America has always thought about the Western Hemisphere. Anything below Texas is considered the Western Hemisphere, and they believe it is theirs. And so that is how they have acted for 200 years or more. Bolivian President Evo Morales expelled the U.S. aid agency USAID following the speech and denounced the United States, which he said probably thinks that here it can still manipulate politically and economically. That is a thing of the past. So see, I want you to see how people have been waking up to the things that these people have been saying. People are tired. And so when this nation collapse, ain't nobody going to be sad. Ain't nobody coming to help us, which is why you got to be prepared to help yourself. Kerry seemed to agree Monday, saying many years ago the United States dictated a policy that defined the hemisphere for many years after. We've moved past that era. So they moved past it, but they didn't offer you no reparations for all the stuff that they've done. They didn't offer a formal apology. They didn't do no, we friends now, just forget about that. Sweep it under the rug. Let's move on. That's how white people act. That is why this country, and that's why the West, Babylon, is going to be judged. This whole entire wicked system is going to be judged. And so people who think that is okay, who don't believe in recompense, who don't believe in formal apologies to the things that they've done to non-white people for all these hundreds of years, judgment is coming. And for those of us who are already on the bottom and living pillar to post, barely scraping by, we're going to be all right. We're going to be a little struggle. I'm not saying we're not going to struggle, but we're going to be all right. But these other people who have engaged in this type of foreign policy, who have ignored what these governments do to Black and brown nations and states, like, nobody's going to be sorry for them. They're going to be on TV crying, and they're going to show them like they did in Ukraine. Oh, I don't know why they're doing this to our country. Help the white people first. All that. No, nobody is going to have sympathy for the people in our nation, because they have supported this type of policy for 200 years and not said a thing about it. And people are going to return the favor. Nations are going to return the favor. The question is, will we work as equal partners in order to achieve our goals? Whose goals? Who came up with the goals? What's the goals? See what I'm saying? equal. How do you be equal partners when you are 200 years behind the power curve? Somebody has had 200 years of being ahead, stealing, doing all these things, and then suddenly you just supposed to be equals. It does not work like that. It's unfair. It will require courage and a willingness to change. Courage from who? And who got to change? You know what I'm saying? People who have been here longer than those people, living and surviving, they want you to change or have courage. It took all the courage you had to just survive them, and they want you to do something else. But above all, it will require a higher and deeper level of cooperation between us, all of us together as equal partners in this hemisphere. So, y'all, everybody is getting this. We are one, we equal, we're going to be fair now with no recompense. Everybody. That's how you know the white people are desperate, basically. Them folks, they understand that this civilization is falling, the new system is going to rise, but they want to be at the top of the new system. It's not, I can't say they won't be at the top. The ones who are behind the agendas, but for your average person who just doesn't get it, like, payback going to be a mug. And a lot of people don't understand that they are going to individually receive payback or retribution for the things that this nation and that the West has done in general to the Western Hemisphere, whether it's plunder it, whether it's turn a blind eye, whether it's unfair trade deals or whatever types of boxes they've been put in. The West gonna pay, and the people of the West are gonna pay. So again, continue to prepare, continue to prep. Listen at the language that these people use. All this equality and equity, and you cannot be equal if you've been plundered for 200 or 400 years with no remedy, no recompense for all the wrongs you've done, for all the destabilization, for all the theft, for all the murders, for all the pillaging of resources, all that stuff, for the exploitation of the people. How are you equal? How can you be equal to these people who are offering a new relationship, when they've never righted their wrongs? So don't get caught up in this stuff that these people are saying. And I used to write about this on Medium all the time. That's why I just quit dealing with racism, because at the end of the day, I just, I'm sorry to say, white people don't change. They just change schemes. The majority of white people do not change. And so, as you can see, this nation is representative of a group of people who do not change. The West in general is representative of a group of people who play unfairly, who develop schemes, who rob, kill, and destroy. And then they'll be like, we didn't do nothing. Let's be friends now, and let's, do something else together. It just is not going to work. And so I don't want people who listen to me to get caught up in that language. You don't have any friends. We don't have no friends. Your friend is yourself. Your friend is your own people. And because other groups will turn on us as well, we don't have any friends. So we just need to understand that what they've done to other groups and other nations and other states, they've done to us. So we need to understand what's happening, continue to plan, continue to prep, continue to pray, seek the Most High for guidance and wisdom, ask for discernment so that you can understand these words and understand what they're saying and understand what they actually mean, because these people do not mean us any good. And we can't continue to buy into their systems, to expect them to do something for us. If somebody's doing something bad to me for, a year, I'm good on you. Okay, you show me what you're going to do for me, and I'm just cut my ties. But for 200 years and 400 years, shame on us for not learning from, the behavior of the people who are oppressing us and coming up with other solutions to survive, because we can't continue to rely on these people. They don't play fair. And as you're going to see when this new system comes into play, they still ain't going to play fair. So with that said, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to my Odyssey and Rumble channels in the event this channel is taken down. Please follow me on Instagram and on Facebook under Marleyisms. On Instagram, it's MarleyK20. If you have any stories that you'd like to share with me, please share them at marleykistiredofracism@gmail.com. Please, 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 please hit the all bell notification so that anytime I upload, you will get a notification, providing they don't unsubscribe you on YouTube. And consider supporting the channel because we are independent. We don't have any affiliates, and this is a labor of love. You don't have to, but if you feel led to, please consider supporting the channel, because it is getting difficult for a lot of us who are not trying to go that route to make it. A lot of us are being blackballed in a lot of different ways. So in order to try to help people, we have to figure out ways to generate revenue, and it's getting a little difficult right about now with all the labels and black balls and shadow banning that's happening. So all right, y'all, make sure you stay on top of what's going on when it comes to all these old doctrines and policies that are allegedly going away, but they're just basically remaking themselves. New people, same devils. All right, this is Marley K, and I am out of here.